Hey guys, we need to do a little bit of vocabulary. So let's do it. Vocabulary related to polynomials. So 3x squared is called a term. And I'll explain term a little more in a second. Term. 3 you should know, that's the coefficient. Coefficient. X is the variable. And 2 is the exponent. So don't worry about this. So that's one term. The word poly as a prefix, it means many. And polynomial, what I've been talking about, polynomial, right, it's right here. Polynomial is many terms separated by a plus or a minus sign. So this is a term, right? So a term could be this. It could just be a number. It could be a variable. It could be a variable with a exponent. It could be a bunch of things. So these are all one term. If I add like 3x squared plus 4, now I have two terms, right? Because these are separated by a plus. 3x squared plus 4 minus 6x. Now it's three terms, right? 1, 2, 3, because they're separated by a plus or a minus. This is the number of terms this has. So our vocabulary today is classifying these polynomials by terms and then by degree, which just means the highest exponent. So if you look at this one, so one term is called a monomial, right? It has the prefix of mono, which is one. So on these that we did, all of these would be monomials because they're just one term. Something with two terms is a binomial. Again, bi is a prefix for 2. So 2x plus 4 is a binomial because there's two terms. X cubed minus x squared is a binomial because there's two terms. 3 terms is a trinomial. Again, you know that prefix tri, T-R-I, means 3. So x to the third plus x minus 4, right? 3 terms. We can do 3x to the fourth plus 6x minus 103, right? It's still 3 terms, right? Because they're separated by a plus or a minus. And anything more than that, we just call a polynomial. So the prefix is the key for the number of terms: mono, bi, tri, or poly. So classifying by degree is a little difficult because the terms are harder. 0 degree, which would just be a number, is a constant. So if you just had a polynomial that was 5, right? This is a monomial because it's only one term and it's just a number. So the highest degree for this, we would just say it's a constant. If the highest exponent is 1, which would just be like an x or a y, because the one exponent is imaginary, that's linear. We've been doing linear equations for a long time. 2x plus 4. Again, this is a binomial because there's two terms. And then for a degree, it's linear because the highest exponent is this imaginary one with this x. when there's a squared, we call that a quadratic. Quadratic. So that would be like 2x squared. This is a monomial because it's one term and it's a quadratic, right? If I change this one to 2x squared plus 4, now it's a binomial, but it's still quadratic because the highest exponent is still 2. Again, I could do 3x squared plus 5x minus 6. Now it's a trinomial, but it's still a quadratic because the highest exponent is 2. The last one you need is a third degree, which is cubic. And even that one's not as important. But third degree would be cubic. So again, 4x to the third, that's a monomial, is the number of terms, and cubic is the degree, cubic. And the same rules apply. I could do 4x to the third plus 2x minus 6. This is a trinomial, but it's still cubic. So this is just vocabulary terms, these right here. You're just going to need to know these. These are a couple questions on the quiz in the test for this unit. We can do some examples real quick. I'm not going to do, we'll pretend that's not there. We'll do these. So this is your polynomial, and then you have to classify it by degree and by term. And we'll have to do that after we watch this. This is what we'll do. So this one, 5x, that's just one term. So again, we call that terms over here. Again, we call that a monomial because it's one term. The highest exponent is a 1, so that's linear. This one, negative x to the third plus 2, this is two terms, so that's binomial, right? Two terms. And the highest exponent is a 3, so that's cubic. This one, 1, 2, 3, because I got rid of this. 1, 2, 3, so that's trinomial. And the highest exponent is 3, so that's cubic as well. This is just a number, so it's still a monomial because it's still monomial. It's still just one term, but there's no variable, so we just call that, so the degree for this is constant. And the last one, 1, 2, 3 terms, so that's trinomial. And the highest exponent is a 2, so that's a quadratic. Again, there's no math here. It's just remembering terms and what they mean. I'll go over this a little bit. Part 2 is, I mentioned this in the previous video, but polynomials must be written in standard form. Standard form, which means the exponents are written in descending order. Descending order, which means they're written from the highest exponent to the smallest exponent. That's what descending means. So for instance, this one, the highest exponent is the 3, and then the 2, and then the constant. I'm going to erase this so we can see it better, but right, I moved this, I put it in standard form by putting it highest exponent first. All right, so make sure this part here, well, this part with the terms are the part we need to remember. Make sure you write that down somewhere.